Well, that's what we're focusing on now. A day without horn. I know. You may think, whoa, whoa, how can that be? Well, he's here to talk about it. Mr. Kayode Opeifa is the Commissioner for Transport in Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Good morning.
Well, the big question is, yes, how can that be? But you're working towards that now, aren't you?
We will definitely get to that stage. At this point in time is to dedicate a day for us to voluntarily start the process of a noise pollution-free environment. And we have done so many other things in the past in this state that has been successful. We have contained Ebola. If it were to be a discussion, I'm sure people will have said it's not possible. If it comes into Lagos, it will kill everybody. So if we can contain Ebola that is not within our individual control, how much more something that we bought with our money to be used for our comfort that we can do without. I believe we can do that. And surely speaking, it's a health issue. It's an environmental issue, and it's a social behavioral issue. And when you consider the implication to you, by the time you get to know, like the medical expert said, it affects all the five senses. And anything that affects all the five senses is like saying it can kill you. And anything that can kill you and you are bought with your money, you rather check the way you use it. So I believe it's possible.
But it looks as though you're operating from maybe a similarly difficult place, because, I mean, clearly you have a job of work to do here, because you have many who think, oh, well, we're used to this. What's the big deal? How do you want to? In fact, they say, I bled my horn in the morning before I came to work. And so attitudinal change, that's part of what you're working towards.
That's exactly the ultimate. You see, that's why it's voluntary, and is an effort at getting individuals to voluntarily become agent of change. And you know what? I am the best person to protect myself if I get informed. And at this process, at this point in time, what we're doing is to get out the advocacy and bring out the benefits and the dangers that are inherent in high noise level. We are currently at about 90 decibels, the measured noise level in decibels. In Lagos, we are currently...
It should be what, below 70?
No, when you get to 70, it starts getting terrible. Ordinarily, it should be around 20, 30 for you. In Lagos, we are just at 90. And let me tell you this, WHO had already reported that 60% of noise pollution comes from the transportation sector. Just like you have emission problem too, transportation sector being the one that is difficult to bring down. So if you can voluntarily, in the transportation sector, bring down the noise level, what you will have been able to do is to do what you call a social intervention to a public health problem. And you can see this during the Ebola containment. It is a social habit that was the target of the change. Once, if you have a public health issue and you use social intervention, you get better results. And that is the intention of this campaign.
I couldn't help but chuckle, when I heard about the no horn day. And let me say, I started trying to practice it from yesterday.
It wasn't easy, was it?
I did not succeed. I mean, I don't think that it goes without saying. I did not succeed. I'm going to admit that.
But you made some progress.
Oh, yes. On my way to work, maybe I didn't, because at some point while I was trying to, there's some people who just thought, you, this girl, you're just being slow or stupid or both, and so they begin to blare their horns. And maybe some people are being silly in front of you as well, and you're wondering what is going on here. You blare your horn right back. This morning, I think I made a lot more progress, perhaps because the road was a lot saner. Isn't it? Wouldn't you? A lot of people will say that you're living in cuckoo world. Coming up with an idea like this. I was listening to radio too, just to see reactions to it, and they had, asked for people to come to call in, with their reactions. What do they think? Is it working? On your way to work, how has it worked so far? Someone said, who thought of this? Or are they trying to get us hit on the roads? I don't know what Lagos roads are like. And those are some of the, I'm sure those are some of the reactions that you're getting, because you cannot tell people to do without their horns if we're not doing certain things on the road to ensure that people are driving properly and playing according to the rules. That's when people really blare their horns. Are we doing anything along those lines?
You're right as to the difficulty to get to drive without horn. And let me make it clear. The horn is an integral part of the vehicle, and is a very, very important part of it. It's for safety. For your own safety, for the safety of the other road user, and for your vehicle, your equipment. Now, if you play your part just like you did, and people yell at you or did whatever they want to do, and I play my part, he plays his part, then there will be nobody to yell at you. And that is the rule number one in public behavioral change. Now, going to what are we doing? In the last 6-7 years, you notice we've been doing lane markings. You can see the road signs. You can see pedestrian crossings. So if you maintain your lane, and I maintain my lane, if the public passenger vehicle drivers attend the Drivers Institute and they have some understanding of what not to do, how not to drive. If you get your driver license properly, which is happening in this country in the last 3 years, if you obey traffic rules, which we have been preaching and doing a lot of advocacy on the road traffic law, then those are the little things we've been doing over the years. Now, if you stay on your lane, and I stay on my lane, if you get to intersection and you yield to the person who has the right of way, there will be no need to honk. So all those things are all together. It's not in isolation. Now, the difficulty is that nobody has raised the issue. But let me tell you one of the philosophy of this administration. We are never afraid of taking the bold steps. We are never afraid to make mistake. But we would not accept a situation to be accused of not making efforts. So we have made an effort now. Seriously speaking, I will tell you some of the tweets I got this morning. I have received over 200. And most have been favorable. That, thank God, I drove from this point to this point without using my horn, even though there were a lot of yelling and curses. You're right. Now, this morning, I saw a school bus driver on the phone, honking, to call somebody, to call a child to come out of the building. And I just parked. I said, come. He said, I'm sorry. Opeifa. He knew me immediately. I said, why are you on the phone? He said he's sorry. He dropped his phone. I said, why are you honking? Because we're trying to do two things to achieve the same result. He could have just parked, knocked the gate, the child will come. Now, the simple thing is he has committed an offense using the phone. He has honked and he has achieved nothing. Because while he was on the phone, the other person is talking to and is honking. We're not here. So it is impatience. Now, this is one of the things this campaign also tells. Most of the accidents you see on our road, those that are due to human error, are as a result of impatience. I just can't wait. But you know what? You can't eat my car if you're ahead of me. I'm the one that can eat your car. Now, the person that should honk is the man behind, right? So it's the man that can eat your car that is honking. He can as well stop not to honk and be defensive and stay back and allow you to go. Even if you try to speed, you will get to a traffic light that will stop you. So the first issue here is to control your anger, which noise in our society had also created into you. Maybe you don't know that noise pollution causes adrenaline level to rise. It makes you to get aggressive. It makes you to lose your hearing capacity. It makes your senses to be reduced. And if you can bring that down, it makes you used the word before, it makes you to be a more sane person, to be saner. And once you are that, and I am, he is, and everybody on the road is, then we enjoy. Is Lagos as bustling as New York? Definitely not. But do they use their horn? Are they different human beings? Their brain is grey and white. Mine is grey and white.
Or they use the they use the horn in New York. But
what we hear more in New York and those cities is siren from the ambulances and emergency services. You don't, when you get out of this country, do you use your horn?
Perhaps they use it in a, in a more controlled manner. But that, people use the, I mean, if not, I would think that by now, maybe they would have stopped building.
No, that's what I said. The horn is desirable, it's necessary.
But the question is, you talked about how somebody who is behind you that can hit you from the back, and oftentimes it is impatience that drives certain things. But there are some people that are just terrible drivers.
Agreed.
I mean, you have somebody who's right in the middle of the lane. He's just straddling. He's not doing, and he doesn't have any intention of overtaking. He just wants to stay in the middle of the road. How do I control myself while at the steering, trying to tell this person, get to one lane, stay on your lane, or take a lane. How do you communicate?
In that situation, you want to save life. When you need to save life, you honk. If you need to save life. But what we are saying is that you can also achieve the same situation by not honking. If you wait for him to go, if he doesn't go, you can honk for him to know you are behind. We are not saying, it's just today we are saying, do as much as possible not to use your horn. But subsequently when you drive, you will still need your horn to save life if need be. Nobody is saying don't use the horn, but if you don't, you see, we have picked a team that says a day without horn. So let's try it. A lady has tried it. You know what she did first? She was not sure she could make it. She removed the fuse. The vehicle is now not roadworthy, She removed the fuse. For 3 days, she didn't use the horn. She said she felt better. She returned the fuse. The next 2 days, she did it 2 days without using the horn. And she has perfected it. My driver has not used it for 1 year. Since the governor made the pronouncement, he has not used it. And he's doing fine. However,
for 1 year?
Yeah.
Not even to warn, people that, look, I'm coming.
So his is a year without horn.
So it's possible. What I'm saying is that it is possible. For those who have lived abroad, they will tell you it's possible.
But, when you stay in a noisy place, maybe in a factory, and then you come out, it takes a while for you to adjust before you listen. But for those who have, maybe say, hearing aid due to no fault of theirs, is the state working with any sort of statistics or data to categorize some of those people so that you know what we're dealing with here?
I don't really know what is going on in the Ministry of Health with regards to this, but I believe the Office for People with Special Needs, LASODA, and the Ministry of Health, Occupational Health Services, definitely we have some information about that. But personally, I can tell you my own story. There is no amount of call to prayer in the morning that affects me anymore.
How do you do it?
Where I live in Agege, I hear like 6 in the morning. And I live close to the Mulero Junction. I hear blaring. So when it comes, it doesn't sound anything anymore to me. It's like it's normal. And you know what that means? I have hearing problem. And you may not know, when we're watching TV now, a lot of us, we just raise the volume. So you know why? We just can't hear what is going on at lower level. You've gone to conferences abroad. You see people talking beside you. You don't hear them. But if you are to speak beside me now, I'm going to hear you. Because over time, you've had a lot of damages that you don't, I don't know when last we go for medical check and we check how effective our eardrums are. So these are some of the problems we have inflicted on ourselves. And it's not too late for us to make a bend. And that's why we're calling for, just this day, for us to reflect on. I tell you, a lot of people will change.
How do you measure?
My people have already changed.
How will you measure the success of today?
Yeah, it's going to be measured by everybody. Like the tweets have started coming in, the Facebook messages have started coming in, and the NGOs. I was shocked yesterday when somebody showed me some equipment they bought that they've been using to measure noise level for some time now, and they will also measure today. What we have done is to use our cell phones. We've gone out to take the kind of pattern of noise at some intersection the last 2 weeks. Then we're going to compare for what happens the next 1 month progressively. And you're far away from the main road now, but if you live close to any of these major intersections, you already have the pattern of the thing. So we have deployed 1,000 last month vehicle inspection servicemen. They are taking reports. The NGOs, about 10 to 15 of them have joined us. They're also taking reports. Then a lot of the corporations are going to send in the reports from their drivers. The Driver Institute too, I've sent people out to collect information, and we're going to evaluate this over the next 30 days. And we've also gotten reports from people saying, why not once every month until we change?
Well, Mike from Finland says, well, yeah, he's suggesting, well, maybe you know this already. He says horn usage may not stop unless we start to utilize other means of transportation that will also help us decongest our roads.
Yeah, it's correct. It's correct. It's a reasonable, it's the norm. We can't continue to move the mass people will move by buses. And that's why we're working so hard on the rail development, the water transportation, and all of that. But seriously speaking, you can change when you have the desire and the urge to change. Whether we move from where we are now to the desired mass transit system, we cannot wait until we move before we change to do things the right way. And on the issue of congestion, there is always this perception. We don't have train system in Lagos that works as of now. Our water transportation system is up and coming. Our public transport system is more of the informal, small buses. And the level of congestion in Lagos, when you compare with cities that ranks side by side with Lagos, surely speaking, is one of the 8 wonders of the world. Okay. We have 224 vehicles on the road. New York has only 24, yet they still have the kind of traffic we have. So we want to appreciate the people of Lagos. At least we are doing everything possible to cope with the situation and take the best out of that particular situation.
Okay, so there you have it, today without horn in Lagos. Mr. Kayode Opeifa is the Commissioner for Transport in Lagos. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you.
We'll be back after this break. Please join us again.